This edition of the Cowboys Report is made possible by Roan. Upgrade your closet, like I did, and use code ChatSports to get 20% off at roan.com/chatsports. Today's show focuses in on the report from NFL insider Jordan Schultz that says the Cowboys will be aggressive and buyers at this year's NFL trade deadline, and specifically mentioned adding a cornerback as part of that report. Now, the Cowboys are contenders, and I think we all feel better being 4-2 than 3-3. And I think when it comes to making a potential trade, doesn't it make some sense that you would trust Dan Quinn to maximize a potential addition more than maybe you trust Mike McCarthy at this current moment? The NFL trade deadline is under 2 weeks away. And the Cowboys, although not maybe the splashiest of moves, have made trades around the trade deadline, or at least in season, in 5 of the last 6 years. Last year, it was Jonathan Hankins, the defensive tackle. The year before that, it was Elianaku. You guys remember him? Exactly. No, you don't. Michael Bennett was the one back in 2019. The splash one was Amari Cooper at wide receiver, because the Cowboys realized that trying to go with Cole Beasley and a bunch of nobodies wasn't going to work at that position. And then there was also Jaron Elliott back in 2017. He played 1 game, but it was a midseason trade, so it counts. Here's the exact report from Jordan Schultz. I think Dallas is going to be aggressive. I still think they need a little more secondary help. We talked about Deron Bland playing well. I think they would like to get another corner. So we're going to spend the entirety of today's show looking at the cornerback room and what players the Cowboys could feasibly go out and acquire. The pipe dreams, the realistic ones, the buy lows, all that stuff in between. But should the Cowboys make a trade for a corner? That's going to be today's pinned comment. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, that's fine. Take advantage of it. Go vote. Y for yes, N for no. Now, the Cowboys cornerback room currently sits like this. And you could maybe even argue Deron Bland should be cornerback 1. I feel fine with your top 3 guys. We'll spend some more time on those 3 in a second. It's Nahshon Wright, Eric Scott, Noah Igbenogany, Israel Mukuamu, who have been active for a handful of games combined this year. Igbenogany's an outside guy. So is Nahshon Wright. So is Eric Scott. You could play Mukuamu there in the nickel. He's kind of a safety nickel hybrid there. If you had to start one of those guys, especially which I think this Wright and Scott and Igbenogany, because Mukuamu has not had the best season. He's been inactive a lot. I don't feel great if you lose one more guy due to injury, which to be fair, I think we feel about a lot of those spots. That's that way about a lot of the spots right now on this Cowboys roster, as most teams would do. Now, the coverage stats from our friends over at Pro Football Focus. Deron Bland, Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis are all allowing a less than 50% completion rate. That's awesome. Now, I will say, you benefit from having a great front pass rush front in front of you. And there have been times where, if the quarterback makes a better throw, it's a big gain. Happened several times against the Chargers. Deron Bland's got 3 INTs, 7 pass breakups. Jordan Lewis has allowed some bad plays. The end zone play was really weird. It's like he thought someone else was going to take his man. So I think you're fine with your starters. You do miss Trayvon Diggs. It's also very tough to find a Trayvon Diggs caliber player on the trade market. But maybe even if it's not an aggressive, splashy move, maybe there's a depth guy you could go out and potentially acquire. So coming up next on today's show, all the different Cowboys trade targets at corner. Buy lows, nickel options if maybe you don't trust Jordan Lewis more than the other 2 guys. And yeah, we'll at least mention the big names as well. But first, today's show is made possible by Roan. The Roan Commuter Collection can get you straight into or through any workday and right into whatever comes next. Golf, this shirt's perfect for going golfing, although I need some undershirts with the weather these days. Polos, dress shirts, quarter zips, dress pants as well. They're very, very comfortable, by the way. They fit so perfectly. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Roan Commuter Collection. Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric gives you breathability and flexibility. It leaves you free to enjoy whatever life ends up throwing your way. The Commuter Collection gets you through any workday and right into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/chatsports and use promo code CHATSPORTS to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you go to rhone.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. Find your corner office comfort today. Links in the comments and the description of this video. I know everyone's going to go, Patrick Surtain, give us 10. And I get it. You are right to want him. Don't get your hopes up. I'm not going to deviate from that line, unfortunately, although it'd be great. He's one of the best young corners in the NFL. You're talking a Jalen Ramsey plus package to acquire him. I don't see Denver being willing to do that, and I don't see the Cowboys even being prepared to offer 2 first-round picks and more when they've already paid Trayvon Diggs long-term. I think if they make a move, a shorter-term option might be the path they choose to pursue. Other big names, A.J. Terrell, Jair Alexander, wouldn't it be great? Yes. Not going to happen. Those guys are going to get paid or have been paid. And because I know we're still upset about Asante Samuel not being the pick, Cowboys are never going to take him because they care about size too much. Also, not going to happen. So taking out the pipe dreams, name a player who you want the Cowboys to trade for specifically at the cornerback spot. Some names coming, but I want to hear from you in the comments section. All right, some at least more notable names here. Jalen Johnson, the Bears corner, does fit the mold of good, talented, and could also be viewed as a rental. Now, I think the trade cost to acquire him would probably be a day 2 pick, a second or a third rounder. But if you think that's what separates you from making the next step forward in your playoff push, I'd be okay doing it. He's been a bit nicked up this year. When healthy, though, he's been really good. He would be a great fit with Trayvon Diggs. Diggs is your gambler. DaRon Bland can still be your gambler a little bit, though, make some plays on the football. Johnson, kind of more of a shutdown guy. You'd probably, in your nickel packages, you'd kick DaRon Bland on the inside. Maybe give Stephon Gilmore some more breathers since he's not quite the same twitchy guy he used to be. And I think teams like the Niners can find ways to exploit that. The Eagles certainly could as well, by the way. So keep that in mind. Of the big names, Jalen Johnson is the realistic and affordable one. Let's go to Carolina now for 2 names. Guys that could very well be moved. Dante Jackson and C.J. Henderson. Now, this is not the first time we've had C.J. Henderson trade talks here on the Cowboys Report because he's been available, or was available, when the Jags flipped him. Here's the problem with both of those guys. You want to be at round, if you're under 60% as an outside corner, under 65-ish, you're probably a pretty good player. The Panther secondary has been bad this year. The results have not been good. Dante Jackson's numbers have gone down at a fairly significant and concerning rate. He's allowing 76.5% completion percentage. That is bad. C.J. Henderson has, honestly, I hate to say it, guys, he's never been good. This is just not somebody who's made a ton of plays on the football and been reliable. They are notable names. I think with a better front and a better defense and better team overall around them, I think you'd see some better play from Dante Jackson. The contract this year is pretty affordable. The Panthers don't save very much money, but the Cowboys would owe like $1 million, somewhere in that range. So money-wise, all these guys are affordable. Now, in the event the Cowboys make a move, I mean, we're going to discuss it, right? Hit that sub button if you haven't already. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Cowboys videos. This is the second one of the day. Happens a lot here. Don't miss out. Let's go to the nickel corner room, or at least the nickel corner options, I should say. Kenny Moore, the Colts corner, does stand out to me as a really intriguing option for the Dallas Cowboys in the event he ends up being shopped. Now, remember, part of the reason why you would have interest in nickel, what separates Kenny Moore from some of the other guys on this list as far as I'm concerned, is this next part. He's actually a fantastic run defender. He is really good in that area, and if you want to have some help there, I think he'd be an upgrade over some of your pieces. Now, he wasn't as good in 2022 as he was in 2021 and 2020. Those numbers are eye-popping. Over 100 tackles and 6 TFLs and 13 pass breakups does not happen very often. But Kenny Moore, again, the contract is doable for the Dallas Cowboys. The Colts might elect to tank with Anthony Richardson out for the season. You already have a good working relationship there. But the contract is doable to an extent. He's owed around $8 million this year. Now, you wouldn't owe all of that. You'd probably have to prorate it some. Maybe the Colts eat some of that money in the final year of his deal. But he'd be a rental. And if you don't trust Jordan Lewis, I do think 28-year-old Kenny Moore would be an upgrade if you can make the money work and figure out the right trade compensation, maybe a fifth, somewhere in that range. Nickel corners don't go for as much as outside guys. The other options who are feasible and gettable are not great. Darnay Holmes, the former UCLA product with the Giants, is basically not playing. He's been benched in New York. So I'll make note of the name because it's someone you might have heard of before, and he's available, but I don't think he's that good. Miles Bryant of the Patriots. I would have loved to have made this Marcus Jones. He's hurt. Pats probably wouldn't trade him anyway. But Bryant is a serviceable-ish nickel corner. My concern here is he an upgrade over Jordan Lewis? I don't think so. So I don't fully get the benefit from that perspective. Next up are some buy low options for this Cowboys team. And the first one that stands out is Christian Fulton. And if the Titans were bad this time last year, and they had Fulton in the last year of his deal, I would have been much more intrigued by this. Unfortunately, he got benched in Tennessee. He was splitting reps with Trey Avery, and Trey Avery's bad. Because Fulton's been bad this year. He's kind of been in his own head a little bit, I think. He's had some mental mistakes, etc. 81% completion rate, 221 yards allowed, 3 pass breakups, no touchdowns, but you can't be allowing every 10 targets going your way, 8 of them are a catch. That's bad. That's about as bad as you'll see in the NFL. So I think Fulton is the best name of this group because I've seen him play better before, but you'd be banking on Dan Quinn fixing him in a very short period of time. Also, he's in the final year of his deal, so it makes sense to not overcommit to somebody, but is he going to be able to help you in time? Can you get him fixed in time? I'm not so sure. I think these are your 3 best options in each category, the bigger names, the nickel, and the buy low targets. So pick one to trade for me. JJ for Jalen Johnson, KM for Kenny Moore, or KF for Christian Fulton. Go vote where else but the comments section. Kaiir Elam is next up. And if the Bills weren't decimated by injuries, Christian Benford's missed some time, Trey White's out for the year again, I think Elam would make some more sense. He was not playing for Buffalo despite being a former first-round pick, but now out of necessity, they might choose to stick and ride with him moving forward. So timing might not be right, but it is a name I wanted to mention. One player who is available, I think, is Andrew Booth. The Vikings bring in Brian Flores. They spent a top 40 pick on Andrew Booth out of Clemson, and he cannot get on the football field for him. That, in a bad cornerback room, by the way, that's a huge red flag for me. It's why the trade value would be pretty low. But he's a former top 50 pick. It's the Will McClay special, right? Previous highly graded draft guy. They just did it with Trey Lance, too, after all they had a second-round grade on him. Probably had a similar-ish grade on Andrew Booth. You can at least call Minnesota. The issue, again, with all 3 of these guys, can they help you in time? I don't know, but I do think they are feasibly available for probably very, very low in terms of the cost.